All right. So, this one is going to go out to one of my subscribers, Dano8014. He asked me if I had any skate park stories. Boy, oh boy. I, man, I got plenty of those. So, I thought I would start with one of my most memorable and also my most earliest one with the most awkward ride home from the skate park in history. So, I'll set the scene for you. I'm in the seventh grade at the time. So is my friend at the time. He has a little brother who's maybe 3 years younger than us, and he's having a birthday party. So, he's having his birthday party at this place called Skate Lab. Some LA people will know about it, other people won't, but it's like an indoor skate park that's in like Simi Valley, okay? And I live in Torrance, so it's like at least an hour drive, I'd say, if not more. So, in order to go to that place, I remember like we had to go to a notary and get like a waiver notarized, which was like strange, but we still did it, whatever. And the deal was like I got invited, but the deal was I had to find a ride there, and then my friend I went with had to find a ride back. And unfortunately, his mom was like kind of sick that day, so we're that was just a little extra like thing to like have to like a little obstacle. So I get the ride for us to get there. Like no problem. I get the ride there. We're there. So we get there and we're having fun and I'm having fun. I've never been there before. There's all these people around and stuff. It's one of those places that like they try to make you wear helmets, which is pretty like lame, but for safety reasons, I'm not going to hate on safety. So, it is what it is. Even though a helmet, I've had so many skateboarding injuries, and a helmet wouldn't have done anything for any of them. But that's not to say wear helmets. Wear your helmets. Okay. So during this time, I noticed like this is a big kind of a big place. It's like a big like warehouse almost. And I'm looking for my friend, and I see him. He's not skating, or he's not. He has literally has a skateboard in his hand, and in his other hand he has his cell phone, which I still remember was this flip. It was a Sprint flip cell phone that had one of those tiny antennas that you could pull out. That's like skinny, and then it's like round at the top. Like somebody will know what I'm talking about. And I go up to him and I'm like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And he like kind of tries to like hide the phone away from me, and I'm like, oh no, like this doesn't feel right. And so immediately, like I grabbed the phone. It's not like we had to fight for it or something. I was just like, I'm gonna get that phone one way or another. So I grab it, and unbeknownst to me, my mom, while we were at the skate park, and her knowing that my friend's mom was sick, she dropped off a little care package at her house to try to help her feel better. I could imagine maybe like some chicken noodle soup or something, maybe ginger ale. I know for a fact that there was Theraflu. Keep that in mind. Theraflu, okay? So, I'm like he's looking really weird. He's looking at me weird. He's looking at his phone weird. And so I snatch it up and I read it, and it's a picture message, and I see a picture, and it's a picture from like I know like this is my boy. I've been in his house a million times. I can tell the picture was taken from his doorstep, and it was facing the street, and there was a box in the middle of the street, and he lived on one of the busiest streets in Torrance, like a very like not no little like suburb type thing or whatever, like thousands of cars a day, probably more. I'm probably underselling it. So underneath it, it says, "Tell that blank that I don't want her freaking Theraflu, and I threw it in the freaking street." And when I saw that, I just like when people say that they see red or whatever, like, I'm not gonna lie, I've definitely had some anger issues, but like right there, like that was like some like almost like an out of body experience or something, like where like I just like immediately like I already had the phone, so I was like, hey, this is her son that is responding to you right now. Don't ever call my mom that word again, or there will be bad things that happen. Like, all she did was try to be nice out of the kindness of her heart. And, like, nobody asked her to do that. She didn't have to do that. But it was taken as, like, disrespect or something like I didn't get it. Like, and it's like, dude, like you're a mom of like 4 kids, like, and you're gonna act like that, like, and like it's just, it was like the most immature, one of not the most, one of the most immature at the time. Yes, it was the most immature thing that I'd seen a parent do. So I just tell her like, hey, don't talk about my mom like that. If you do, there's gonna be an issue. I don't know what or whatever, but like it's not gonna be good. And like I don't know what their conversation was like after that, but she ended up being the one that picked us up at the end of the day. So she comes and she picked us up, and I remember it was a Ford Explorer, a black Ford Explorer. And we get in the car. My friend's brother's sitting shotgun. I'm sitting in the back, and my friend is sitting in the back. And you would imagine being like a little kid that you're like have had a skate park birthday or whatever, like that you'd be like, oh man, like we did this and we did that and I almost fell, and like you would think like that they would still be like on like an adrenaline rush or whatever from like just from the activities of the day, because I've had days like that, so I know what it's like. I was an avid skater for years. But that car ride home, for however it was, at least an hour. Probably, there was probably traffic. It was like an hour and a half. Not one word was spoken between anyone. Not the mom to the little son. Not the mom to the older son. Definitely not the mom to me. Not me to my friend. Not me to my friend's little brother. It was just completely and utterly silent. And then finally, we get to my place and we pull up, and I couldn't get out of the car fast enough, honestly. Like, it's like that saying, you could feel the tension with the knife or whatever. Like, yeah, you could definitely feel it in that car, in that tiny little space. Yeah, you could tell, you could feel it. So I get out of the car, I open the door, I grab my board, I close the door, and I go up inside my house, and that was that. So that was the story on the most awkward ride home and longest ride home from the skate park. The most awkwardly longest ride home from the skate park in my entire life, by far. So hopefully this one makes it up.